Hey everybody, this is Isaiah and Kevin, and you are watching the Real for Real podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. We've got a special one for you today. It is one that I know that we were highly anticipating and ready to see, and I'm sure all of our 90s friends out there, the 90s babies, are definitely excited to see it as well. We are doing none other than Mortal Kombat, directed by Simon McCoy, screenplay by Greg Russo and David Callum, produced by James Wan, Todd Garner, Simon McCoy, and E. Bennett Walsh, and distributed by Warner Brothers. Some of the cast members that were involved in this film were Louis Tan, Jessica McNamee, Joe Taslim, Makad Brooks, Hiroyuki Sanada, and Josh Lawson, just to name a few. All right, so Kevin, go ahead and give me your first take about it. Like, how do you feel overall, general take?
Man, so my first thought is the movie was not a flawless victory, but it's not a fatality either, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's just an average movie, man. I was expecting a lot more from this movie. I think the best way to describe it for me is after the first 10 minutes, I think I could just say game over.
Dang,
I think that's the best way to say it, man. But it's not a terrible movie, though, honestly, man. I think that MCU has just really spoiled me in a way because year after year, I keep getting, great superhero movies with a great plot, great action, great acting. And so the last live action Mortal Kombat we've seen is what? Annihilation in 97, right?
I mean, if you want to talk about, I want to bring that one up. That was some bad memories.
So the bar is already low. So I'm expecting this movie to be off the chain, right? I'm expecting it to be almost flawless victory, but not quite because it's Mortal Kombat. It's a video game adaptation. It's not going to be perfect. So it just wasn't all that, man. It's average, bro. It's so average.
I agree. I got no qualms with that. It's not a bad movie. It just isn't. It wasn't as good as I expected it to be. It was just average. It is run of the mill. Low key, my thought was that it kind of reminded me of maybe not the new MCU, origin story movies, but it felt like an origin story from maybe the 2000s and such, before they got into their groove of how to tell
before
these
they
stories.
Perfected their craft, right?
Yeah.
I think this movie just spent too much time trying to set up a sequel that you should have focused on perfecting this movie to the best of your ability.
Now that's fair. No, that's a good thing because, I don't know if anybody else out there heard about the discussion that this is supposed to be like a series. I was talking to some friends and they said that it's supposed to be like the first of
I heard about that,
3 or 4 or something like that. I don't remember how many total, but just was talking to some people that seemed to be a little more informed than I was going into it. But yeah, it does feel like the whole movie was just a setup for the next one. At least by the way once you get to the end of the film, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, bro. Yes.
So it was just strange in that regard. But I mean, for a first one, like you said, the bar was set low. So I mean, it met expectation in that regard, but it didn't meet the expectations I think that I had set for it myself.
So I'm trying to see, man. I'm still debating if 1995 is better or not. I don't know, honestly. I think this movie is going to require multiple watchings for me because on the first one, like I said, I'm not completely sold.
Yeah.
You can even look at the Rotten Tomatoes score. I think the critics gave it 55%, audience gave it 88%. I think that they're just happy and a bunch of fanboys, and it is what it is. They didn't want to accept that this movie is super average. But hey, it's all good. Hey, leave your comments, say what you want to say. This movie is super average. But let's talk about the positives. Oh, but before we get into the positives, though, you said Greg Russo was the screenplay, right? He did the screenplay.
Yeah. Him and David Callum wrote the screenplay.
Let's talk about that guy for a second. He needs to watch his mouth. First of all, over here talking about
watch his mouth.
He needs to watch his mouth.
You saying that like we at the schoolyard? You ready to fight somebody?
I'm just saying you got to watch yourself when you're talking, man, because he was over here talking about 1995 Mortal Kombat was nacho cheese dip, and it's like, but you got some very corny one-liners in this movie, and let's not say bro, Jax like, oh yeah, these work. No. You got some corny lines in here, bro. So you definitely got some nacho cheese dip in this movie.
Yeah.
I also think he didn't need to throw shade at Goro either, because Goro was way more intimidating in 1995 than this one. Like, how you gonna be talking about Goro looking a hot mess and CGI this and this and that, but you didn't even develop one of the strongest characters of Mortal Kombat. Like, I didn't feel intimidated by this guy. I
Okay,
don't think anybody, Cole Young didn't even feel intimidated by this guy. Come on, get out of here. What you talking about, man?
so I ain't gonna lie. Visually, I like this Goro better than the one from night. But
It's
I see
2021. Of course you do.
I see what you're saying now about like at least on the terms of like story wise. Yeah, the 95 one builds up Goro to be like this. You know, he's that dude. He's the number two.
And
He's
the
the
video game builds him up to be that dude too, because
yeah, yeah. And this one,
why didn't 2021 build him up this way? That makes no sense. I was actually thinking, why do you have Goro in this movie in the first place?
well, hey, low key, like, well, hold on. Before we get too far, I didn't know Russo said all this, so I ain't, you know, I didn't know that you put me on game.
I'm just saying, Russo kind of threw some shade in there, like talking about
okay, no, that's
nacho cheese dip, and you can do that if you want to, but you got to have a cold-blooded movie if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, and
That's
I guess he stood by his movie. I guess he stood by his. He thought his was.
How about you have a tournament in the movie? Then you can talk that stuff.
Okay, so since we going there, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with positives, or do you want to start?
No, let's start with positives because I mean, my positive list ain't gonna be like super long anyway.
Oh, well, if that's the case, you started. Lead it off. Open it up, then.
The first 10 minutes, that's positive. Like that felt like it felt like an authentic martial arts movie, bro. Like, come on, man. Hiroyuki, I'm butchering his name, Hiroyuki Sanada. Like, he's a phenomenal actor. You know him from 47 Ronin. You know him from The Last Samurai.
Yeah.
Rush Hour 3. Like, you know this guy. He is a great actor. He's a top tier martial arts actor, and he was phenomenal. Yeah. He is Scorpion, right? You got Joe Taslim, another phenomenal martial arts actor. You may know him from The Raid or The Swordsman. Like, he's another good actor. And so seeing him on the screen, that was dope. So, and that's what they use for the marketing of this movie. Like, they use the Sub-Zero Scorpion, like, oh, let me clickbait y'all to make y'all think that they're going to be in this movie for a long time. Like, this is what it is. But no, bro, I feel like it's clickbait at this point because you gave a phenomenal trailer, and I'm over here thinking this is the movie I'm getting, and I don't get it.
So just to be clear, are we on positives right now? Like,
my bad. See, my bad. No, but the first 10 minutes is really good. Right there. No, so the first 10 minutes is really good, right? And I like because I will say they did a better job with Scorpion and actually showing you like because I guess like his weapon is like it was kind of like a garden tool, right? Like when he was planning and
I just know it like a kunai, a little, flying dagger. That's I don't know
so
much
it was
about
good
it.
To, like develop that story, right? So I thought that was cool because like in 1995, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, they just kind of just walk like henchmen, like.
Yeah, I mean, and, there was
fight Sonya now, and it's like what? Like
I think in the 95 movie, it was just like the backstory was simply just that Shang Tsung says in 95, he's like, yeah, they're the deadliest of enemies, but I made them slaves under my power.
They got that music walking, and they just show up. And it's
like, yeah. So you just hear like a one sentence backstory from, but yeah, it's true. I did like the way that they set that up. That he essentially built his weapon on the spot. That was really cool in that first scene.
That was cool.
I'll add to that, like just in general, since you were talking about that scene and you mentioned Hiroyuki Sanada and Joe Taslim, I was just gonna say the casting choices to me I thought were great. Like, there's a lot of representation in a film that is heavy on Asian influence, and they made sure to use Asians.
Raiden was Asian.
Yeah, I was about to say number one Raiden. Yeah. And not to knock, I'm not knocking the performances in 95 or 97. I'm just simply saying, if your character is, if you made Raiden a character who wears what's like to the audience is iconic Asian attire, and then you pick a white dude to be in it, what?
You know how Hollywood be doing, man. They be whitewashing stuff.
Well, and we've come past that. We've gotten better since the 90s, clearly, because they did the right thing here. And
was that Raiden or was that Jesus? I don't know. Look very similar to me.
Them boys said they cast man, it's Jesus. I'm out of line. I'm out of words for that. I don't know what to tell you.
The whitewashing, it is what it is.
But no, they did right by the casting. Even Makad Brooks, I thought did great as Jax. Josh Lawson. I'm gonna go ahead and jump to this positive too, since I'm mentioning his name. Kano was the gem of the movie. In fact, the middle section of the movie is essentially carried by Josh Lawson. He was just, the moment they introduced Kano, he's just funny, and he keeps
He
everything
offers the
going.
comic relief, man, and he develops a story too. Like he was dope. I think Kano's actually my favorite character in this movie.
Oh yeah. I never would have said that prior to this movie, but for sure,
He was my
um,
favorite character, man.
watching this, I was like, oh, Kano ain't that bad. Like,
Yeah,
I'm a big Kung Lao fan, so low key,
yeah.
that's where I was. That's what made me want to see the movie. But after watching
Wait,
it,
who? Who again? Who?
Kung Lao, hey, don't do it.
Oh, the
Don't,
guy that was only in it for 20 minutes?
hey,
Oh, okay.
don't go there. Don't go there. Don't
That's
go
your
there.
favorite character? I know you was disappointed, bro. But we'll talk
Every
about
Mortal
that.
Kombat story always got Kung Lao dying, so I knew it was coming, but I was just like, I was just excited to see him on the screen, man.
That man got 20 minutes of screen time. Well, what was he in the movie for, man? Come on.
I was just excited to see him on screen, but I knew it
Got
was
his
going.
soul sucked out of him in 20 minutes.
Any
Boy.
diehard fan of the series understands that if you like Kung Lao, you got to see him die in some way. It's coming. It's coming.
Oh,
They
man.
always killing off Kung Lao, but yeah,
Bro, I
Josh
like
Lawson did
Cabal in
great.
this story too, though. Cabal did a good job.
Oh yeah. So that was another positive I gave it. Was like on top of just casting, but the roster of characters was cool. Like
Mhm.
seeing Reiko being added to it, like which is a little known pick from Mortal Kombat 4. I don't think he's been in anything they've used this character in many of the other games, but he is used in Mortal Kombat 4. So that was an obscure pool,
They didn't
as
really
well
use him
as,
in this movie. He was just standing there and had like 3 lines, but that's fine.
well, I don't even think he had lines, to be
I
honest.
don't even think he had a line. They
I
didn't
don't
use
think
him
he
in this
said
movie.
words, but the fact I'm talking about the roster of characters, just that they didn't
I feel you.
just
I feel you. Yeah, he
they
was in
didn't
it.
stick to the status quo and just give us Mortal Kombat, the first game, characters the whole time. I did
Right.
like that
Yeah, that's true. That's
they
true.
branched out a little bit to try and show that they were, I think, well, at least from the way I took it, they
Mhm.
were trying to show that they were at least versed in the lore enough to be able to pull characters from smaller games or the games that from other games in the series. So
Mhm.
that was cool to me to see Cabal. Yeah, to see that they added Cabal. To see that they, even with Reptile, they didn't go with the actual ninja version of Reptile as much as they
Yeah.
did the
Yeah.
more actual lizard looking version, which
That
has
was
been
cool.
used in more of the newer games going
That
forward.
was
So
cool.
yeah, I
Yeah.
just thought they made some cool little references to multiple games that way. So that was cool. Yeah, the roster having Cabal was really legit.
Well, that's my positives list.
Dang, that's it. I mean, I got a couple more.
Oh, you want to keep going? Okay, keep
I
going.
mean, I got at least two
I mean,
more.
I'll probably piggyback on it, man. If I agree, we'll see. We'll see.
I'd say just two more. I think that I noticed. Where one, just the cool thing about the fatalities and special, like
Well,
actual moves.
how could I forget that? How come? Oh,
Yeah,
because they
like,
say the fatalities like the third act. I guess the last 15 minutes. That's why I
well,
forget.
no, because technically it happens early on. Kano gets the first one on a Reptile.
Ah, he does. You're
He
right. You're
snatches his
right. You're
heart out
right.
his chest.
You're
Now,
right. He does. Okay. Okay.
but I was gonna
Yeah.
say, just in general, as you get into the third act, and everybody, well, heck, even before the third act, Liu Kang, the moment we see him, he blasts a fireball at somebody. But that was the thing that we were missing in the original '95 one. Now, the original '95 movie isn't like 495 was actually, I think it's not that bad. '97's Annihilation, we all knew that was an
The
issue.
worst sequel I've ever seen in my life. It makes
Oh,
Batman and Robin look phenomenal.
oh,
That's how bad that movie
I
is.
don't think anybody will argue with you on that. Like, it's definitely the worst sequel.
The worst
Um,
sequel I've ever seen,
but
bro.
I also think that, like, that it was bad for lots of reasons. But one of the things they did try to improve on from '95 was they did try to add more of the, the different moves and things that we were used to seeing in the game. So I got to
Yeah,
commend
they
this
did.
movie for finding a
They did.
way to tie it in with the Arcana thing. I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about it, but they were able to. They used that as as just a way of explaining why they had moves and gave those moves.
You mean as they're training and they gain their arcanas through sparring and
Hey,
fighting?
I
Like,
got something to say about that, but that's in my negatives
oh, okay.
category.
I'm sorry.
So,
Yeah, I mean
but no, I'm
that's
with you.
very negative. That's a,
Yeah. So
yeah.
if
We'll
I
talk
mean,
about that.
the last thing was just the nostalgia treats that they gave us. The little
Mhm.
sayings that they put in from the game, the little hints at other characters, like the Nightwolf reference they show in there, even the pit where Jackson Reiko fight is the pit wherever the from the game when you uppercut people and they always land on the spikes. That was
Mhm.
cool. Like, so the
Mhm.
little nostalgia things. Now that we got that out the way, negatives. We can get to there. Why this is why we saying that it's a basic movie, y'all. So this is why all the fangirls out there, fanboys out there, and I consider myself a Mortal Kombat fan boy, but at the same time, I got to be
Well, you
objective.
are a huge fan, bro. Yes, you
Oh,
are.
I am, but this was a basic movie, and we're gonna explain it now. So I'm gonna let you jump off first with the negatives, and let's see what we
I mean,
do.
I think this movie should have been simply a Scorpion and Sub-Zero movie. I think they should have focused on them. And because the trailers that made it look like it was going to be that. And so I was thinking I was going to get that, but you get them in the beginning, you get them in the end, right? And so that wasn't enough. To me, it should have been a Scorpion and Sub-Zero movie. And then if you want to focus on a sequel, develop the Earth Realm and Outworld after. I don't know. But this should have been Scorpion and Sub-Zero for me. And
Okay, so
I think they should have had him go to hell and
mhm.
then resurrect. They should have shown it instead of just his body burns and then it evaporates, goes away, and then he comes back and says, I came from hell and I'm here to avenge. No, like we need to see this because not everybody knows the Mortal Kombat story. You know why MCU is always winning? Because they don't assume that every single person has read the comics. They explain this stuff and they show it. That's what they should have done with this movie. And then why don't you have Quan Chi in this movie? He's just as important as Sub-Zero, ain't he? Is he?
I mean, yes, depending on where where you're telling your story from. It sounds to me like what you were looking for was you weren't looking for a Mortal Kombat movie as much as you were Scorpion and Sub-Zero story
Oh,
first.
I guess that's why Scorpion's Revenge is a better movie than this, the animated movie.
Oh,
I guess it.
I could dig that. I saw it like right before I went to go see Mortal Kombat. I actually knew it existed, but for some reason for years just never watched Scorpion's Revenge. I wasn't a huge fan of the animation.
It's actually a better movie, straight up.
Yeah. Although the story on it is really good. I do like that. I just wasn't a big fan of the animation in that one. That's just me, and so I know that kind of jaded me a little bit, but I could see the story being better. I kind of agree with you. I put that the story was, or just the script and screenplay was a little rough. So it is like you said, the
script
advertising.
is very rough. No, I think you're going light on that. The script sucks.
Oh, no. That's what I said. The script and the screenplay were rough because.
And you don't even have a tournament in the movie? Let's talk about that.
Well, that's a separate bubble in itself. But yeah, the movie is a training arc. But that's, like I said, it all goes back to the script and screenplay. They wrote the advertising says it's Sub-Zero and Scorpion movie. You're thinking this is the main fight. The problem there with the advertising, which technically could be its own negative bubble in itself, is that you marketed it as though that was the main piece, but you also marketed the two biggest fights in your whole film. You showcase both of those in your trailer.
Exactly.
Show one of them.
The problem I have. I've been bamboozled this year with this movie as far as trailers and the little things.
Yeah.
These
like the little
movies
things
pulled the heck out of me, man. I'm wow.
But yeah, like I just personally believe I would have shown one or the other, like pieces of one or the other of the fights.
Yeah. Sure.
And to be honest, it wouldn't have been the last one. I would have showed the first one, the first one, and let that be because it all takes place in your first 10 minutes. Why not?
Yes.
Use that. Like people can read between the lines and see that the dude in the blue and the dude in the yellow are who they think they are. But the script was just. They tried to still make it about Scorpion by tying Cole Young's character into being, part of that bloodline. But
Cole Young, another negative. My goodness.
They just don't treat him like a main character, and that story kind of fumbles. Like it's not where we think it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like
why would you add this Cole Young and then you don't even utilize him like you should?
Like I said, the script and screenplay are the problem, and of course the script itself, just the dialogue is 90% exposition. Like it's just exposition.
Oh, that's what Liu Kang was for this whole movie, right?
Oh, my man was worthless. Like
he was taking a back seat to Cole Young. I'm like, why are you gonna throw in Cole Young as the main character now? And Liu Kang basically just takes a back seat. He's the exposition for this,
which is weird because I definitely thought that the acting was good in the sense that there was not much for them to do with it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, so no one I thought did bad. The script itself doesn't lend to you doing anything.
No. Whoever played Cole Young sounds like he is reading from the script. I don't agree with that.
What did they give him to do?
His acting is off every time. He's
what did
talking,
they give him?
It sounds like he's reading from the script. Look at that movie again, man. I just
when
kept looking at his acting.
When did that man have time to actually act?
Oh, come on, man. If you on screen and you talking, you acting. Sorry. That's acting.
How much did he talk? After we get introduced to the other characters, he falls to
Dude.
the backside like most of the movie. That's what I'm saying. Like the
But
man
he
did
still talks. It still sounded like he was reading from something.
he did
Oh, I
fine
got
with the basic lines he got. I didn't even, unfortunately, like I can't use this to judge that man's acting
Go
skill.
Young is trash. That's it. Go Young
Right?
is trash.
Where
Go
you
Young is
where
trash.
you stand at it. I gotta say, if this had been written better, I could blame him. It's kind of like how I felt about Justice League. You know what I'm saying? Like if it had been night and day different to me, like in terms of like the choices that were changed, I told y'all, and y'all can still be mad about it. That movie, the changes that Whedon made outside of Cyborg, eh,
The people
they
that's
just
already
weren't
been,
that
yeah.
drastic. They weren't
Nah,
that drastic to me. So
all right, Isaiah, I need you to answer this for me, bro. So how does Cole Young go from being this MMA fighter that's trash? He got his tail whooped. I'm talking about
oh,
bloody face and everything. Where did he learn to fight like that? Where did he get these martial arts skills from?
beats the heck out of me. That's what I'm saying. Like I thought like I said, this is the biggest problem. The story,
Come on, Greg Russo. Come on,
they did not
Russo.
treat
Come
that
on.
man the way they needed to.
Come on. How
They
did he learn to fight like that, man?
the
Where's the training at? Where did he learn to? Come on, man.
look, my issue, the two, or I guess the
He
3
beat
points,
Goro, bro. How you beat Goro and you got whooped by some amateur MMA fighter?
dude.
Stop
The
it.
three, that's what I'm saying. Like
Stop it.
the three
Stop
negatives
it.
I've mentioned so far: script and screenplay, the training arc situation, and Cole Young being a main character. All of those are linked to the same stuff. Like it all comes back to the writing. How you write Cole Young, like, and we don't get a chance to truly care about him, but then they try to make him seem like that dude by making him fight Goro, which I agree with you earlier. Why was Goro in this
Because
if the
they were
two
high
was
when
doing
they
the
were
stuff?
writing this, bro. That's why.
What's up?
Because they were high when they were writing this. That's all that is.
Hey, I ain't saying they high. I'm just like,
No,
why
they
did
were
you do
high. I
that?
don't know how you just. Oh
You
yeah,
could.
he could fight all of a sudden. He whooping Goro. He whooping
That's what I said.
everybody.
Like
So
I
you
get it.
can't. You high. You
You
high.
needed him
Yeah,
to
you
unlock
are.
his arcana, but why Goro, the one who's supposed to be the number 2 in almost every game? And
Because they want Cole Young to be that dude. They want him to be better than Luke Kane. That's what they
they could
want.
have wanted him to be that way, but you do that through storytelling. You make us care. You make us care first, and then you can try the rest of that. Like I was like,
Agree,
dude just threw him
100%.
out there, threw Goro out there to make him look like
Yeah,
when to make it look like he leveled up.
yeah. Bro,
Goro,
let's talk about this leveling up though. Arcana is like through this fighting, and you just all of a sudden you get your Arcana, right? Jax, okay, so he just all of a sudden grows his mechanical arms.
hey,
What?
my man's Arcana is he's a transformer. That's what he is.
He's a
He's
straight
Optimus
transformer.
Prime. Let him
How
live.
does that happen?
My
What?
dog is Optimus Prime.
How does that happen, bro?
I was
What?
tripping. I was like, bruh, did he just sprout metal pieces and screws and bolts? Like, stop it. Stop it.
But I'm confused though because Greg Russo says he is a big fan of the story. He understands the story. And but why would you have them get their powers this way? Like if you're a big fan of this,
I'll tell
why
you.
do it this way?
I'll
That
tell
doesn't
you
make
why.
sense.
I'll tell you at least my opinion, right?
Why?
So you know I'm a big anime fan. You know me forever, so you know I'm a big anime fan, and I like games, video games as well. But two things that those genres suffer from is that people grab these entities, these works that already
Mm-hmm.
have huge followings, and when they want to make a live action version of these, the
Mm-hmm.
problem is they make this live action version, but they feel that they need to change something to it to make it more grounded or to make it seem more like to make it
I
connect
agree with
more.
that. Yeah, for
And I'm
sure.
like, and that's
For
where I
sure.
think the Arcana thing came from. And I'm not, it wasn't a bad thing altogether, the idea of explaining where the powers come from. Cool. Especially because
Yeah.
you're dealing with real people, especially
Yeah.
it's real people once you add, you know, Cole into the situation. Because he clearly is a basic dude like the rest of us outside of his bloodline, right?
Right. Right.
So cool, you do that. But when they really flushed it all down the toilet legitimately with Jax. He grew metal pieces.
Oh man, you said a transformer. Oh
That's
man,
what he.
come on,
That's what
man.
he did.
That's
Tell me he
that's
wasn't
crazy.
a transfer. That man could have turned into a whole Hummer H2 if he wanted to,
Oh
because he can grow the
man.
parts.
Ah,
That stuff is base. That was
that
trash.
is so trash, man.
And like you said earlier, I want to go back to another point that you said. The training arc but no tournament. That was just a weird position to take, and I think it has to do with the setting up multiple movies. But the
Setting up the
training arc,
sequel instead of perfecting the movie that we're currently on.
but
Stop worrying about trying to set it up. You're not MCU.
well,
You don't have this perfected. You don't know how to do this.
the MCU did that to
Clearly.
everybody. They've made everybody want to do that.
Everybody's trying to be the next MCU, man.
It's
I swear,
true.
you can't do this like
Think
that.
about it. That Tom Cruise Mummy that came out was trying to set up that monster
Oh,
universe.
man.
Like everybody was trying to set
Oh,
up something
God.
afterward. Even DC did the same thing, but they just nobody wants to work.
Hey,
to
not too
earn
much
it.
shade on DC, though.
Hey, I left it at where it said. I left it
You
where it
leave
said.
that DCEU alone now.
I
Leave
left it
alone.
at where it said. I ain't gonna touch it.
Back to Mortal Kombat.
I ain't gonna touch it. I'm just saying, different people have tried to do they've tried to gain the success without earning it, and that's the problem.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
true. That's true, man.
So
That's
I just thought the
man.
tournament arc was kind of weak. I mean, the training arc. It's not a bad story to have, but there's not even a big training.
They didn't
component.
execute it well. You already said it. You already said it. But let's talk about the fight scenes, man. The editing on the fight scenes. Oh my goodness.
That's
bro.
the worst.
That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Who's the crew for this?
Oh,
that's
you could forgive. You could forgive. So cinematography was by Jermaine McMicking. Sorry, I said his name.
Embarrassing, Jermaine. Embarrassing.
Yeah, like
editing of these fight scenes is embarrassing. It's 2021 and this is Mortal Kombat. That is absolutely embarrassing. I couldn't believe it when I was watching that. I couldn't believe it, bro. I really couldn't.
There are 3 scenes in this whole movie that actually have fight scenes that are shot to where you can actually watch a full piece of body motion. That is the first scene, the very last scene of the movie, and the other one that I remember is the CGI fight between Cole Young and Goro. I can watch all of the motion that happens there, but every other fight that actually happens between 2 human beings, I can't see it.
Can't see it, bro. Can't see it, bro. That's very whack, man. And like on top of that, bro, like the going from scene to scene of different people, like I would have liked to see an entire fight, right? As we get to the final act of this movie and everybody's fighting each other. It really builds it up when you can watch it from the beginning and watch it at the end. So what they should have done is this fight, watch the whole thing. All right, now let's go to this fight, watch the whole thing. Stop going, because at that point it's like annihilation, right? That's what annihilation does. It's fight.
I'm willing to say that both 95 and 97's movies allowed you to see fights longer than that.
But they allowed you to see the fights longer.
You know what I'm saying? Like Jax fights Cyrax in the 97 Annihilation movie. It's a entire scene is just for him. Until Sonya comes in and does the kiss of death and kills it. But I'm like,
that's a good point. That's a good point. Wow.
So I thought that was just kind of a cop out. I was like, man, how is a 95, like a movie from 95 and 97, both executed their fight sequences better, and they executed them better without using actual special moves. You had the leg up, you had the special moves and the fatalities. All you have to do is just show it to where I can actually watch a punch happen. But no, you cut, split, spike. What are you splicing this for?
They cutting corners, bro. They cutting corners, and it shows.
That tells me.
And it shows, because Isaiah and I caught it, and I know other people caught it too. And if you didn't catch it, you're lying to yourselves.
Oh, you are.
You're lying to yourselves. It's obvious.
It's just tough. But I will say, I will call out some favorite moments. Both Scorpion and Sub-Zero fights. Both of those were good.
Yeah, for sure.
Kung Lao's fatality was clearly the best fatality for me. Even though they did the throwback to Jax's, Kung Lao's was dope. Like when he and then Kano's dialogue. Those are my favorites. What's your favorite moments?
Oh man, I think my favorite moment is going to be the beginning of Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and the ending of Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Yeah, those fights were legit.
That's that. Hey, a lot of people don't like this or talk about this one, but when Jax at the end, he was fighting, who was it, Reiko, or who was he fighting?
Yeah, Reiko. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, when he bashed his face in, I was like, dang. Ooh-wee.
Oh, I remember the fatality from the game. I was like, okay.
Yeah. That was a good one, man. There was a point in the movie though where somebody said fatality, and I didn't actually see the person who said it though. I felt like it was a video game moment. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember when that one was said. I mean, because I remember the one that, of course, the flawless victory that gets said by Kung Lao when he cuts, Nitara.
Yeah, he actually says it, and that's fine. That's for y'all fanboys out there. It's cool. They
But
didn't have to. I mean, we're adults now, and it's rated R after all, so you don't actually have to say fatality or flawless victory. Like, you don't have to say that. We
I
know
think we
that
can put it all
already.
together, right?
Yeah, I think we could figure it out, but that's fine. So they offered that fan service for y'all. But there was somebody says fatality at one point. You don't even see who it is. So it was like a video game. Like,
Yeah,
I was like, okay,
I'm gonna have to
cool.
go back and look for that. I missed that.
Yeah, I was like, all right, cool. That's
Yeah, I missed that for sure. But
very
definitely,
video game-ish. That's cool.
yeah. Whoopsie. Sorry. Hit him with that too, huh? I was waiting for that to
Yeah,
drop
man.
somewhere in there.
Yeah,
But
bro.
as we
Mhm.
come up to the close, I mean, as we wrap it up a little bit, I mean, what's your final thoughts? What's your final thoughts and final score? And then I'll give you mine.
Bro, my final score, man, because I don't want to be too harsh. It's Mortal Kombat at the end of the day. I don't feel like they're ever going to perfect this movie. And this version obviously proves to me that they'll probably never perfect this, honestly. So I mean, I give it a 6 out of 10. That's on the high side, honestly. Really, this is a solid 5.
Yeah,
But I mean, I do enjoy the action in this movie, and I thought it was cool, man. I mean, the action side of it, the fight
yeah,
scenes were cool. The editing, like I said, I had a problem with. That was bad, but it's a 6. It's a 6. It would never go any higher than that.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
so I definitely would agree that it's not. So it's funny. I think it's interesting. You probably are coming at it like sound like you got more emotion driven in how rough it is. But my
Yeah.
score is actually lower than yours. Like mine is literally 5. Like on the high side, I could only give it a 5.5, maybe a 5.4 because I don't want it to round up. I don't want it to round up.
Yeah.
So I would say about that, and the reason being, like I said, the story was good for what they went for. Like the
Hmm.
story, I'm not knocking what they went for. If I take it objectively, this is what you gave me. It's not what I would have started with, but that's fine. Story was okay. I thought the actors did the best they could with what they were given. But I mean this to the fullest. If it wasn't for that editing piece, I could have probably forgiven all the other sins. If it wasn't for the editing, I would say that they were negatives, but they wouldn't have been as bad. But because I got all these splotched and cut up scenes,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was it was rough. So the movie kept my attention, it kept my focus. So I got to give it that, but a 5.4 at the best. And
Wait,
understand this.
wait, bro, I might have to go down on my score actually.
Ooh,
And the only reason why I say this, you said it kept your attention. There was a certain time in the middle of the movie where I went like this for a second.
oh,
Oh,
my boy was nodding. My boy
I did
nodded.
I did that for a second, bro. So for that, I actually have to go 5.5 actually,
Ooh, so
because I
really,
never thought that would happen in a Mortal Kombat movie where I would actually get bored at certain parts.
so it looked like we sitting in the same neighborhood. 5.5.
Yeah, yeah. I really, I'm sorry to go back on my score like that, man. But
I
no, that
mean,
like literally, like in the middle of the movie, it got kind of boring to me in certain parts. So,
so see for me,
um,
it held on, and y'all can thank Josh Lawson. Like I said, Kano
yeah.
did that for me. But I will say, it wasn't what I was expecting for the film that I've been waiting for a reboot for years, and we've got all these other fan-made things that have come out since then. But I will say, it damn sure wasn't Mortal Kombat Annihilation, so it won't get under a 5.
Man, the bar is so low, bro.
Yeah,
Wow,
it
that's
won't get
ridiculous.
under a 5 simply because it's better than that. And
The
so
bar is so low,
I
man.
thought it was still much better than Annihilation. So just know for y'all, whatever y'all decide to do with this in the future, I won't be as lenient the next time. Y'all better watch our tape.
Oh man,
Russo, watch the tape. Watch what we got out here. We
that's
trying to
it.
help you. We both are fans. We trying to help you.
We're
That's
trying
all
to
we
help you.
saying. I believe in you. I believe you can do better. We just you better give it to us the next time. You didn't
You
had
better bring
you
it.
had
You
what?
better bring it, man. You
Oh
better
yeah,
bring it. 'Cause this
he
movie
had
was.
20 years. He had about 20 years in between on this one, so I'm gonna let him slide for the first one. But the second one you gotta bring the heat.
Oh
Hey,
man.
so folks, what would you think in the comments? Did you like the movie? Do you think we are off our rocker by thinking it was mediocre? Did you hate it? Tell us in the comments
Bad
below.
boys gonna come for us. They coming for us. They coming
come,
for us.
come for us if you got to correct us. Go ahead and correct us. Put us in our place if you think you know. Click the subscribe button. Check out more videos that we'll post. I'm sure that you'll enjoy most of those that we drop as well. But as for the Real for Real podcast, this is Kevin and Isaiah, and we signing off. Y'all take it easy.